Let's talk about Asmongold for a bit because he's been popping off the last few days, and it hasn't been going well for him at all. And here's the thing, I've been very critical of Asmongold. There are, I don't know, it's like 90% of stuff I disagree with him with, and I think he's a complete idiot on. 10% of the time, he, gets some things right. I made a recent comment during my video about Hurricane Milton, about how Asmongold, I heard him say something recently where it's like, we don't live in a two-party system, we live in a one economic system where like the Democrats and Republicans both don't care about us, they just care about the wealthy, which I definitely agree with him on that. But 90% of the time, I don't agree with anything he says. I think he is someone who, instead of sticking to something that he at least is a bit more knowledgeable on in terms of like the gaming industry and like the fan base around that, the gamers. Instead of focusing on that, he kind of, for some reason, he thinks he just needs to voice his opinion on everything. Like, that's a big problem of his. And, I mean, Jake Lucky put it out beautifully with this tweet. We'll get to this clip right here. I mean, we might as well start off with it because this is what really started everything. I mean, Asmongold has been talked about many times when it comes to Twitter. Like, he's constantly getting called out in Twitter for very stupid reasons. Well, no, very stupid in terms of what he says. Like, what he says is very stupid. I remember the first time I heard about him was like in reference to AI art and like his take on that. But to me, that was like, all right, that's just a bad opinion on something. Then it came like the Gamergate 2 stuff with like Sweet Baby Inc. And he was like very much like leading the charge in a sense. And it was like, okay, you're just giving way for like really disgusting people. There's no way I could possibly like someone like this who just seemingly just does not care that he is kind of farming a community of incels who just want to bitch and complain when a gay character is in their video game. But this is the tweet, this is the clip that's been going around lately, and it's probably the worst thing he's ever said, at least as far as, the shit that I've heard from him.
If you want to consider a genocide as a systematic killing of a group of people, they have genocide built into Sharia law right now. So no, I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a fuck.
That's just fucking terrible. He's just like, yeah, I don't care that they're getting genocide because it's such a fucking Western misunderstanding of Muslims. Like, no, it's not baked into their fucking laws, you idiot. And the only reason why there are a large amount of Muslim fundamentalists, the reason why, ironically, when we bring up Western culture, which we will get to later in this clip, a large amount of Muslim fundamentalists, like very extreme Muslim people, the reason why they can be as prominent as they are is because of Western influence on the region. Like, we came in, we destroyed their land, we basically took their resources so much that people didn't feel like they had any other option than just to support the group that was in opposition, who happened to be fundamentalist, who happened to be very extreme on, with their Muslim beliefs in a very dangerous sort of way. But for them, for the regular Muslim people, the average Muslim people, they just saw their like family get murdered by these Westerners, and they were just like, look, I just need some form of opposition, and even if I don't necessarily agree with them, they're the only thing I have right now. Same thing with Hamas. Like, and this comes up, there was a discussion that Hassan had with Asmongold after this. He brought him onto his podcast, not his podcast, his stream, and they debated for like 3.5 hours. I'm not gonna watch that. I haven't even seen it yet. I've only seen like a clip or two, but that's something I'm probably just gonna watch on my own time. I'm not gonna like react to it because Jesus Christ, that would take forever. But Hassan brings up in that discussion where he's just like, the only reason why Hamas was even in that sort of power is because they really had like, well, first of all, most of the people in Gaza couldn't even vote because there's a large percentage of people in Gaza who are children, so they couldn't even vote on who would get in. And most of the time, Israel kills a lot of peaceful groups. A lot of like, the way that he puts it is like, Palestinians had all sorts of like Nelson Mandelas, but Israel keeps killing them. And he's correct on that. They either killed them or they put them in jail. So like, yeah, you can't exactly blame these people for, and even before like October 7th, I believe Hamas wasn't even that popular. So it's just asinine to be like, no, every single person deserves it because every single person is like this, when that's just factually incorrect.
They're terrible people. It's not even a question. It's crazy that people don't see it that way. They'd be doing the same thing.
Well, you know, some people don't see it that way because they have a thing called empathy. They feel they feel emotions, and they, regardless of some people's beliefs, they can still feel bad when a bunch of innocent people are getting genocided, especially children.
And how much did they kill? As many as they can.
This is so fucking disgusting, especially since like there is a genocide going on right now, and it's not Muslims who are the ones committing it. It's being done upon them. Like, we're living in this hypothetical world where Muslims are always performing genocide on Jews, when right now it is the Israeli state that is doing it on Muslims. And that's not saying like, oh, Judaism, I'm not trying to say what he's trying to say about Muslims, because that's what he's trying to do. He's not just talking about people in Gaza. He's not just talking about Palestinians in this case. He is talking about all Muslims. He is. When he brings up Sharia law, he is talking about all Muslims. He is not singling out one or the other. But unlike him, like when I talk about like Israel and Zionism, I am not conflating that with all of Jews. Like with every single Jew on the planet. There are plenty of anti-Zionist Jewish people. There are plenty, like being a Zionist is not inherent, like is not something that a Jew can only be. There are plenty of Christian Zionism. There's plenty of Christian Zionists. Like this is just fascism. That's the thing. Like Zionism is basically just fascism. And like, I don't know. I think I'm losing my train of thought. But like, he's trying to make it seem like all these, like every single Muslim is just a genocidal freak who just always wants to commit genocide, when we're talking about a foreign nation, a foreign fascist nation, performing the same sort of genocide that he's saying that Muslims want to do on Muslims.
They're not able to kill as many people as Israel because they don't have as many bombs and as many weapons. But if they did, they'd be doing the same. That's it. Just takes enough. That's right.
Imagine fucking seeing like this big buff dude, and he's just beating up this scrawny little kid, and you're just like, well, if the scrawny little kid was jacked too, he would just do the same thing to the other guy. So really, this little scrawny kid who's getting his ass beat is in the wrong.
These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture that is horrible. It kills people for their identity, and it is directly antithetical to everything Western values stand for.
Oh my god. Dude, you bitch and moan when a queer character is in your video game. What are you talking about Western values? What are you talking about inferior? You live in a house infested with insects that nobody has ever even heard of before. With insects that most people will probably never come across their entire lives. They are living in your house. Talk about inferior, but people have made those jokes over and over again. What are you saying is just Nazi shit? Literally. There's a meme about how people on the left would just call anybody Hitler. This is literal Hitler shit. This is shit that Nazis used to say. They used to call Jews inferior and that they were harmful to their way of living. This is straight up Nazi shit. And he's just saying it openly. He does not give a fuck if he can just be openly a Nazi to all of his fucking viewers who will cheer this on. Also, these Muslims when they kill people of their identity. Do you have any idea the history of America or the Western world in general? They love doing that shit. We have 2 presidents right now who are campaigning on deporting refugees, on deporting asylum seekers. Like, what are we doing? What are you talking about? Like, not that long ago, less than a century ago, black people were still getting murdered because of their identities. It is not that long ago. There are still black people who get killed, not just by police, but just by some racist because they're black. There are people who get harassed because of their identities. There are people who are afraid of going outside because of who they want to express themselves as. What the fuck are we doing? What the fuck is he talking about? Like, what, you think America is this perfect utopia for everyone who isn't a white dude? It's not. It's gotten a lot better, but it still has a lot of improvement to do. I don't know what he's talking about. Like no piece of land, like no region is perfect, but we are definitely not ourselves. Calling another land inferior, especially with the long history of what the Western world has done to the Middle East, calling them inferior, you'd have to be plain out stupid if you can't recognize what has led to that region being that way. If it wasn't for us, we ruin things more than we help them. We do. The Western world ruins more things than it actually saves. This is just fucking maddening.
And it is an inferior culture in all ways. It is that simple. No, I don't feel bad for them. I don't feel sorry for them. I don't care. I don't support.
Just fucking disgusting. Like it's literally just hate speech. It's Nazi fucking, it's literally shit that fucking Hitler said. It is disgusting. And this is when I'm bringing up back, but Jake Lucky, dude could have played video games for the rest of his life and made millions, but instead wasted his time needing to share his opinion on every single world topic. Like that's the thing.
If you want to consider a genocide.
Here's the thing. I don't know why he feels like he has to put himself in these shoes of being like, no, I have to talk about these topics. Like I have to. I don't know why. He brought himself up, from what I understand, by playing video games. Why not just do that? I think he just saw how easy it is to get views, like get clicks off of just hate, off of just like, let me hate on this thing for being different. Let me he has made more videos about the Star Wars Acolyte series than there probably are episodes of that show in general. Like a show that barely anyone talked about outside of people who just wanted to hate on it. Like he made videos about that. He doesn't need to. He's pretty successful. Like that's something you would expect out of like a basement dwelling like loser who really has nothing to his name other than that. But he owns one of the biggest streamer organizations. Like he's a co-owner of one of the biggest organizations in the streamer sphere of OTK. He does not need to do this. He could just have played video games. That's all he had to do. It's like Nick Merckx. Like Nick Merckx did not have to voice his opinion on trans people, but then he did, and honestly it probably worked to his detriment. Like why did he feel like he really had to go out of this way to say these things? Does he honestly think that his opinion on, I don't know. Like the reason why I like to talk about these things is because it's something that I'm like deeply interested, but I don't know, because he's obviously not well informed on many things from the sound of it. This is just asinine, but we do have more about this.
Want to oppress people based off
I believe this was the clip I was talking about.
Like if the people are voting for the people that want to oppress people based off of their identity, I think that to a certain extent,
okay. Let me answer a question. Okay, great question.
Thing.
I have two problems. Okay. I just told you that 50% of the population of Palestine and Gaza Strip and the Gaza Strip under the age of 18. None of them fucking voted for Hamas, okay? Because they weren't alive. That's number one. Number two, you said you voted for Donald Trump in the past in 2016.
I did.
Okay.
That doesn't surprise me.
Trump? There you go. Turns out people have many different motivations voting for one particular party over the other, and it doesn't have to be fundamentalism that they believe in. That's my point. Because they're human beings with different attitudes and a different opinion. If the dominating party of Fatah as a party completely captured by security apparatus, the behest of this state that is destroying they're going to be like, okay, I'm going to go with the other.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Like Fatah just being essentially just an offshoot of the Israeli government. But like, yeah, it's just completely asinine to be like also, first of all, it does not surprise me that he voted for Trump. I believe I don't know, I'm pretty sure he is a libertarian, or he said he used to be. It doesn't seem like it seems like he still is, definitely. But like, it's just so fucking asinine. Also, like, this is something that a lot of people have brought up too. When he talks about how, again, going back to, they kill people because of their identities. And this is something I also kind of like hinted on, but like connecting the two. His fan base doesn't like people for their identity. His fan base gets up and rowdy if someone of color, if someone of a different orientation, or if it's just a woman, is in a media that they like, or dares to be the main character. Like, this is someone who got upset. This is an entire fan base that got upset after finding out that the next Assassin's Creed game is going to star a historically accurate black samurai, or as historically accurate as they can be, because it's Assassin's Creed. Of course, they're going to, not be that accurate when it comes to like mystical artifacts, and like a secret assassins organization, and a Japanese woman. Like, those are going to be the two main characters of that game, and they bitched and complained when they heard those were the two options. And when And just recently, when the sequel for Ghost of Tsushima came out, and it was revealed that the main character is going to be a woman, they freaked out again. It's like, you don't like people for their identities. You would prefer it if every single character, like every single main character in a video game, was just some dude. Like, that's it. Which is so creatively limiting when you're just like, no, I just want it to always be a dude. Like, the whole point of media is to tell a story, to tell different stories, many different stories from many different angles. But if you're so focused on only wanting to play as a dude, or only want to play as a white dude or a Japanese dude sometimes, it's just so fucking I don't understand that framework of being like, no, I just want to play as this one specific team. I only want to play as this one specific thing all the time. Just so fucking dumb. But there was some consequences after this. He didn't get banned on Twitch. Really, he got banned off his alt account, so I don't know. It still seems like he is going to take some time off. I believe the alt account is only being banned for 2 months. Well, not 2 months, 2 weeks. But his main account seems like it's still active. I try to look for his other one, but it's not showing up. So yeah, that one definitely got banned. And he did have a apology, in quotes. Looking back on it, I was way too much of an asshole about the Palestinian thing. My bad. Of course, no one deserves to have their life destroyed, even if they do things or have views I find regressive. You guys deserve more than me saying stupid shit like that. I'll do better. And just breaking this down a bit, I was way too much of an asshole about the Palestinian thing. You know, where I said it was fine if an entire group of people got genocided. That's the Palestinian thing that he was being an asshole about, you know, not a genocidal monster about. Just saying my bad. And that's something like, say someone was to say the R word and it just slipped. It just slipped through them. They said it and they were just like, oh, my bad, didn't mean to say it. That's something you say my bad about. When you say an entire group of people deserve to be genocided, deserve to be slaughtered because of my misunderstanding of what I construed their entire religion and ideology to be, that's not a situation where you can just say my bad. Of course, no one deserves to have their life destroyed, even if they do things or have views I find regressive. I mean, this is probably the only one where it's just like, okay, like that's a good line there, like, but still it doesn't it still doesn't help that the first thing that came before that was my bad. You guys deserve more than me saying stupid shit like that. I'll do better. I just don't know. It feels like such a hollow apology, honestly, where it's just like, man, did I just advocate for the genocide of an entire group of people? My bad, guys. I'm out of control. Oh, fucking hell. Sick PR tweet. Can't wait to see you say the same bullshit in a week. We'll see. But this was an old tweet of his. Weird as fuck to see so many people coming out with statements about the Israel-Palestine conflict as if they need to comment on it. Can we please stop this weird culture around expecting people with no relevant background or education to talk about world events / politics? And even this one's pretty bad, because like, if people want to come out, I don't know, like, obviously showing support. I mean, like, he just kind of broke his own rule there. He was just like, he obviously does not have the relevant background or education to talk about these things. Like, and some people might say, well, you don't either, do you? And I was like, and honestly, no, I don't have a background in politics. I got into it like 3 years ago after what happened in Uvalde, which really kind of pushed me into it, because I was just like, okay, I need to learn more about this. I really care about this stuff. But the difference, I think, between the two of us is that he just has opinions already. He has opinions on a certain group of people, and he isn't willing to change those and bases his views off that. So like, he already definitely has a negative view on Muslim people, and, you know, bases his opinion about this whole situation based on that. I'm willing to learn. I was a complete dumbass, but I actually sat down, I listened, I read, I tried to like learn as much as I could on given situations that I wasn't, you know, privy to before. It all comes from a willingness to want to learn, and that's something I could give him when it comes to like talking with Hassan. He did this a few months ago as well. It was about the student protests that were going on at like UCLA and Columbia in regards to the genocide in Palestine, the genocide in Gaza, and the fact that he was like, every single point that he tried to come up with during that debate, every single like thing he brought up in that debate was completely shot down by Hassan and proven wrong. The fact that he has not really changed his mind about this and is honestly, the opinion has only gotten worse, because back then it was just like he was upset that people were blocking the roads, even though that wasn't really the case, because they were just in settlements on the ground that the university was, the university grounds, which was public area, which they had every right to do so. It wasn't private property, which he tried to say it was, even though it was completely wrong. He tried to, like, he got mad about that, and even though he was told multiple times, like, what this was about, how it wasn't illegal what they were doing, it seems like his opinion really hasn't changed. Like, this is so much worse than just saying, like, oh, they're not protesting the right way. Like, this is so much worse. I don't know. We'll have to see. Again, I haven't seen that debate he had with Hassan. I'm not expecting it to go incredibly well if this is his response, because I believe this was after their talk. Like, if this is your response to that, I don't know. It seems like a hollow apology, just being like, my bad. It seems like you don't really understand exactly what you said. Also, there's also been people who have been backing out of a company that he owns called Starforge Systems. I saw some people who have said that they no longer wanted to be a part of it. At least there's been one tweet going around of someone who used to work there who was like, yeah, I'm not working there anymore. There was someone who I believe had a partnership with the company that said that they were, done with their collaboration. So I don't know how well this is going to go. It's going to be interesting to see what the future of Asmongold is. Maybe OTK gets rid of him, but then again, there was that whole thing with, what's his name, Mizkif, where it was revealed that he covered up a SA only for him to leave the company and come back. So they don't exactly have the best track record of holding their founders accountable. So yeah, we'll just have to see where this goes. Probably nowhere good, if we're gonna be honest.